Welcome back. Still tuned into Startup Central. Now, zeroing in on the hospitality sector, it's been one that's definitely taken a huge walloping due to the coronavirus. My colleague Ruchi Bhatia had a chance to host an exclusive conversation with the Oyo Room's CEO Ritesh Agarwal to talk about how his company managed to survive the pandemic and what the business impact has been, what plans he has for Oyo going ahead. Let's listen in to this conversation.
Read about your journey from Orissa to running India's first hospitality unicorn. You recently said that for building a startup, you need to have a microscope in one hand and a telescope on the other hand. But I'm sure either of them could not have really prepared you for a situation like this. We're in the midst of a pandemic. It has really created a big upheaval across lives as well. Really unforeseen, if I should call it that. As a leader, as a young entrepreneur, what have been your learnings during these times? How big a challenge really has been the COVID-19 times?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, Ruchi. And to begin with, I must say that the COVID times have been, probably the most transformational period for both me and for our entire organization. Primarily because it feels like all the work we did for the last 5 years, we've probably learned a lot more than that just in the last 1 year. I saw for the first time the pandemic impacting us in early part of this year, around January or February. As I saw that impact, it felt like it was going to be just a China-specific problem. Very soon, it became a global challenge, and we were very quickly then able to make sure that we put together a strong team and started responding to the crisis by means of a combination of three critical things, which is cash, cost, and care in the reverse order. That is making sure that care is the most critical because it's just not an economic crisis we were dealing with. We were also dealing with a pandemic, which was impacting lives of our customers, employees, hotel partners, our ecosystem. But at the same time, it was important that we built and responded to it in the form of every business details possible. To begin with, I think in the form of care, we tried to bring all kinds of possibilities to our ecosystem. We were the first in the US, in Philippines, in India, in Japan, in Indonesia, to bring free stays for first responders. It did extremely well. We've received blessings from, I think, lakhs of first responders who we got spaces for. We combined that by making sure that we ran a 24/7 helpline for our people through this period of time. On the other hand, in the interest of making sure that we were preparing for the substantial hit in business that this brought, our gross margin dollars fell by upwards of 66% in the month of April versus that of January, which was a very substantial drop. As per that, we were able to make sure that we had to make immediate changes. Part of that was making sure that all the controllable costs we made changes on, like that of marketing, CapEx, and all the other similar investments. Very soon we realized that that was not going to be enough. We also had to make probably one of the toughest decisions in my career in terms of being able to furlough some of our Oyopreneurs. This we announced in April 14th. We tried to do it in the most respectful manner possible, including that of making sure that we gave around 1.5% of our company to all our departing Oyopreneurs. Shares that traded at upwards of $50,000 last for $0.14 a piece, so that people genuinely became partners. But that was the beginning. We put our entire company, including myself, we were speaking to our customers, partners, employees, ecosystems, policymakers, and learning about what kind of consumer demand will be there in the future. We focused on road trips. We focused on weekend getaways. We focused on small and medium business travel. We focused on staycations, including that of work from anywhere campaigns in Himachal, Kerala, Denmark for our European customers, and so on. And due to that, we are now back to around 85% of pre-COVID levels in gross margin dollars. So still 15% down and not fully out of the way because the second wave of the pandemic is still looming across the world. But, I think clearly we are in a much relatively better situation than we were in April, but we're fighting every day.
Ritesh, the fact that you're saying that at one point of time you were running full throttle and you pretty much had a wall put in front of you, and that's pretty much visible with the fact that Oyo did massive expansion in various markets between 2017 to 2019, and the year 2020 was the one where we did see the COVID pandemic impact as well. The hope was that markets such as Europe, US, Southeast Asia will also provide steady growth for Oyo. Does that mean that now, given the fact that we're in the midst of the pandemic, you have decided to rework a lot of your initial plans as well? Will you apply brakes on your expansion plans significantly?
So I think, Ruchi, crisis brings clarity. And for us, the clarity that this has brought is that we have clear visibility. Today, Oyo operates in substantial amount of markets already. We operate in around 80 countries. And our core three regions where we are market leaders or market leading in is India, Southeast Asia, and Northern Europe. And the two markets where we are becoming clear challengers are in China and the United States. Our view is, of course, we operate in other markets like Latin America, Japan, and few other geographies. But these are the 5 focus markets that we're going after: India, Southeast Asia, Europe, US, and China. And within these, our aspiration is wherever we are market leading or market leaders, which is India, Southeast Asia, and Europe, we would want to expand our lead by going deeper rather than that of broader. And in markets such as China and US, we want to continuously improve our product and services to make sure that we continue to win market share because of our product experiences. So I think we are broad enough to not have to expand anymore. Currently, the focus is making sure that we consolidate our gains and go deeper in the geographies where we have market leadership or challenger status.
Ritesh, having said that, you were talking about recovery, that you're seeing, trends like staycation really picking up, people working. In fact, I was in conversation with Mr. Bajaj of Airbnb as well a few days ago, and he said that we're seeing a lot of people now working from different locations. COVID has certainly, shrunk a lot of other barriers as well. And now the fact that we're all able to work from home, you can pretty much work from anywhere. All you need is a good internet connection. So what are the kind of trends that you're seeing, and where from here in terms of recovery?
I think what we're seeing is there is a substantial trend towards people turning away from the urban destinations to more leisure destinations for work, leisure, and so on. And people are staying there for a longer period of time. They're not staying there for a weekend or a week. People are booking for at least a few weeks, going with a family and spending time there. So we launched a campaign called Chal Pahad, which is, basically inspiring people to travel to the hills in the north, the south, the east, and so on. And the uptake was massive. We are seeing a lot of travel uptake in destinations, which are the hill stations primarily, and increasingly the beach destinations as well. The second trend that we are seeing is the weekend getaways are doing really well. So for example, the Chikmangalurs, the Alibags, and so on are seeing substantial amount of consumer uptake, or even Rajasthan for that matter from Delhi. We are also seeing that people are booking more holiday homes rather than that of large hotels. So small hotels and holiday homes are the new treat of the town. So people are saying that imagine being in a 200-room hotel with 50 people at the lobby. So scary, right? You'd rather be at a 10 or 20-room hotel or a little vacation home, so it's not as risky. And last but not the least, people want to make sure that they don't want to be locked in 4 walls of their houses. They want to be out. They want to be out and about. So we're seeing that not just in India, but globally, the travel trends are looking up, unless there have been government mandated lockdowns in some of the countries across the world.
Right, and of course, the second wave of COVID as well that we're kind of now talking about. Having said that, you said that we're seeing recovery of close to 85% from the pre-COVID level. When do you see getting back to the 100% level and then growing from there? What are the factors that this is going to be contingent upon?
I think we are in India and Southeast Asia, which are very critical geographies for us. December is the holiday season. It's a big season, December, January, and February. I think a lot of hopes are pinned on how these 2 to 3 months look like. My view is that, of course, at the same time, we have large businesses which are also operating in Europe, United States, and China. We're also tracking those results. depending on how lockdowns and the second wave of impact turns about, we will know what is the timing taken for this 85% to get to 100%. But that's not very far away. I think the big question will be, when does this 100% then start growing again to substantial scale on the gross margin dollar levels? I think in that we anticipate probably next year, early to mid next year is a timing when we could potentially start seeing some amount of growth there. I think in the Q2 or Q3 is when I believe that the next summer season is going to be a very critical period for seeing what the next segment of growth will look like. So at this point of time, we're just looking at the markets and responding to it. I think the consumer demand is looking very strong. It really depends on how government mandated restrictions look like in the times to come. And depending on those restrictions, I think we will see either recovery or recovery plus substantial growth in the next upcoming months.
What's going to be your one big message to young leaders, young entrepreneurs?
I like to believe that we are also building ourselves. So we are trying to take messages ourselves at this time, Ruchi. But I think if there is one learning I've had in my career, both pre-COVID and in COVID, it is, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. All you got to do is keep digging. I think 5 months back, everybody said that, will travel businesses see through this crisis? Today, you're seeing that the best travel businesses in the world, like that of Airbnb, and I would believe that ours and Choice Hotels are all able to not just come out of this crisis and are actually seeing a lot of tailwinds in this period of time. So my belief is those tailwinds are the one reason because of which we will see through this crisis and see through it well and good.
Okay, and on that positive note, that's Ritesh Agarwal chatting about how he battled through the pandemic, the kind of turnaround that they've seen and how they're managing to stay afloat. We'll take a very quick break right here on the show. Be right back with lots more.